I'm Elizabeth Ann Stansville, and Elizabeth means consecrated to God, and I have something important to say to you.
So what's something that you've always wanted to do but you never got to?
Well, I didn't get to do it, and I wanted to. I really can't think of anything because it seems like if I want to do something, and I tell anybody, they make sure, my husband always did that too, make sure I get to do it. So, and Craig helps me get to do things. It took me to, I think it was mostly Central America and maybe a little bit into South America. And that was the funnest trip of my life, I think. We had this really nice taxi cab driver. We just took us places and told us so many interesting things about the area. Because he had lived there, I think, most of his life. And then we got to see the Panama Canal and the ships raising and lowering and just so much historic. It's really old. It has an old history. So we did a lot of sightseeing and seeing historical things, and then getting to meet people. And we stayed with one mother and her daughter, and they were very kind to us.
Get a little bit.
And they were very kind to us, and took us in and were very friendly. And they showed us their way of living. They heated their water on a stove. They didn't have a lot of the amenities that we have.
Yeah.
So they showed us all these things. And then while we were there, I got to visit a school. And I was kind of surprised that their school to me, seemed backward because of all the technology that we have in ours.
Yeah.
And the students, the teacher wrote everything she wanted the students to learn that day on the chalkboard before the students came. And then they wrote in some paper that all the things she wrote on the board. And then I guess they studied it. And they didn't have books like my students had books.
Uh-huh.
They didn't have books. Everything was like chalkboard and writing it down. And they didn't have like we have, computers for the kids and things. And they didn't have any, no technology at all. Not even the teachers had technology.
Throughout your whole life, tell us something important that you've learned.
Well, the most important is the Bible. The Bible is the best guidebook. And I love the Bible because it tells me how to live and to prepare for my future life, my eternal life. So
what's some important advice you would give to younger people that you've learned by going through 8 decades?
8 decades. Probably to listen to whatever authority you have. Authority is very important. And so I would say be obedient to have good authority. I mean, be obedient to everybody who's older than you, but it's good authority like your parents. Listen to authority, some things they can teach.
They did. And so if you couldn't be a teacher, what would the second thing be that you would choose to do?
I always wanted to be a teacher. Ever since I was a little girl, I used to gather all the children, put them in little spots, and teach them. And I taught all of my sisters all the way through their schooling. And I guess I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I've never thought I would like to be anything else.
Oh.
Just a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Why is that so appealing to you?
I think I'm a people person, and I like to be around people, and the more the merrier. And when you're teaching, you have a lot of students, and I just like to help them, and I like to, so I could help them learn and help them with people, and I always enjoyed being around students. Even in college, I like the other students at college.
So what's the secret to a successful marriage?
I was married, I can't even remember how many, maybe 62 or 3 years. So I should know, but I think one thing is to encourage your husband or your wife. Just encourage each other and help each other when you have projects or something they're interested in, and get to know their personality and kind of bend with their personality a little bit. If you're a person who likes people and your husband's a person who likes ideas, adjust that so that maybe he can be somewhat with people and you can somewhat with ideas. Just giving and taking, letting the other person be what they are and trying to assist them and go along with that. And listening to them when they want to talk. And if they want you to do something, try to do it if it's within your ability. And I guess just a give and take, see who they are and being helpful.
So what's a big historical thing that's happened during your lifetime that you recall vividly?
A big historical...
Yeah, like maybe the moon landing or something similar to that.
Oh, let's see. Well, the moon landing was a very historical thing.
Where were you?
When they landed on the moon, I was in California. And I just watched TV and saw it on TV.
Yeah.
And also the towers, when the towers were... I just watched that over and over. I just thought that was so incredulous. I couldn't believe it hardly. When I first saw it early that morning, I thought, that's not real. Is that a movie? But then I found out it was real. And that was a big thing in my life, I think. I was raised with 5 girls, which were wonderful sisters. We had a great life, but we had a couple boys, but they were at the end after the 5 girls. So I always thought boys were unique. I liked to watch them. I liked to watch their playing. I liked what they did. And it was kind of the things I would like to do too, the physical things.
So were you a tomboy?
Mm-hmm. I was definitely a tomboy. I liked to climb trees, and I even liked to climb those girders over bridges and all kinds of things that my mother didn't like me to climb. So I liked it when she went to the grocery store or somewhere and left me at home. And I would do all those things because she didn't like me doing those things. So I would climb really high trees, climb to the top of the roof of my house, and then jump down and climb the girders on the railroad track when they have trains and they have those overpasses. I'd climb those. I just liked doing that. And even when I went to Disneyland with my sister one time, Virginia, we went to my aunt's. He took us there, and going on that real fast. What do you call those?
Roller coasters?
Roller coaster that went down to the. You thought you were going to go in the ocean. Oh, I just thought that was the most exciting thing in my life. But my sister didn't like the roller coasters at all. But
do you think you're a thrill seeker?
I must be. But I'm a little wiser now that I'm older, and I don't do it as much. Probably shouldn't have scared my so much. But I sure loved my mother. I wanted to obey her and do the things she wanted me to do. So when I did those dangerous things, I always did it when she found.
So is there anything that you regret from your life?
Maybe
regret not doing or doing?
Well, maybe I think I probably should be a little more obedient. I just dearly loved my mother, but I know I did some things that she wouldn't want me to do, like running and doing scary things that I shouldn't have probably. But pretty much I obeyed her. But I wish that I had been a little more understanding of my dad, because I did not understand him very well. So I didn't respect him very much or appreciate him very much. And, I should have. He was my father, and so what if he didn't have an education and he couldn't read, Reading was important to me. So I kind of thought he wasn't very smart because he couldn't read. But in his situation, he didn't go to school. And so I see that now. But I don't think I was outright disobedient, or he didn't know that I didn't respect him. I don't think he knew that. But I just know that I personally did not.
So what is something that you're the most proud of, one of your accomplishments of your whole life that you're the most proud of?
I think becoming a Christian, being saved, and because of that, I know I have a destiny, and I love reading the Bible and growing in Christianity. So I guess that's the thing I'm most thankful for. It's not that I'm proud of myself. I couldn't become a Christian by myself. It's because I think God shows me I can live for him and experience more real life because of him and what he has done in my life. And he's always been faithful to me and protected me into dangerous situations and led me into good things, blessed me with a really nice daughter-in-law and son and daughter. And he's been good to me
So
all
you
my life.
mentioned that destinies were important to you when you're taking a trip. So why do you think that is? Are you a goal-oriented person?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a goal-oriented person. I like to have a goal to work toward.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the bigger goals in your life that you guys have accomplished?
Okay. Well, we have accomplished owning our own home. That was a goal we had. And having good churches to go to and a nice family of our own, a son and a daughter. And we accomplished travel because I've gotten to go to several countries. Like one of them, my favorite one was Israel. And we learned a lot of things about the Bible that came to life in Israel. And then I was able to go to Korea to see my daughter who was teaching school there at the time. And then go with my son to Central America and learn a lot of things about that. And I've been to all across the United States. I taught school in Maryland and taught different places, California, Oregon.
So who is your favorite historical figure?
Favorite historical figure was probably Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, why is that?
Oh, just because he was such a wonderful man, and he probably had a background similar to mine, poverty, and he was able to go through that, so I could identify with him. Plus, I'm thankful for all the things he did for our country and for his leadership. And he came from, nothing to being the President of the United States.
Is there ever something that you wanted to do really big, like be President of the United States or accomplish something really huge? Is there anything like that you ever dreamed of?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I think I accomplished most of my dreams, finishing college, teaching school, traveling across the United States. We traveled the northern route all the way across the United States, and we taught school in Maryland one year, and I was able to see that city, little tent city that, I forgot the name of that black guy that had the tent city.
Oh,
Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King. We got to see his tent city. And while I was teaching school back there, my principal said, there'll be no school tomorrow. And I thought, why? And then after school, she told us that Martin Luther King had been assassinated. So it was an eventful thing to be there at that time and see the tent city. And I enjoyed it. My class just was like 30 minutes from Washington, D.C. And in fact, none of my students, my fifth grade students, none of them had ever been down to Washington, D.C. It was only 30 minutes away.
What was your favorite spot in Washington, D.C.?
My favorite spot? Ooh, I liked everything, but I did like those museums. And I took my students, they had never been to the museum, none of them had. And I took them to I think 5, and I took them through all of them one day.
Are you talking about the Smithsonian?
Smithsonian.
Okay.
We took them to all of them. We just went fast through all of the museums. And my students really liked that. The girls loved the one where the president's wives had their gowns on as models. And, but the boys liked the airplane one, and they liked all of them. We didn't stop and discuss them. We just went fast through all the museums.
What is something in the museum that really struck you?
Probably the girl thing. Seeing the president wives with their different attire that they wore for the inauguration. So
that'd be fun.
Yeah, it was. But I liked all of the things. I learned a lot by going through those about airplanes and air travel from beginning to end, and just a lot of interesting information.
So would you do anything over differently in your life?
I think, I became a Christian when I was in the 8th grade. And I think God had a lot to do with what happened in my life. And while I could have made a lot of mistakes, don't feel like I made a lot of mistakes, and I think it was because God was present, guiding me. So I can't think of anything that I would do differently. There might be if I thought hard enough, but I can't think of anything.
Can you think of any person that has made a big impact on your life?
Well, different people, I think, at different times, like my dad's father, my grandfather, even though I know he was not a good father and that he was a minister and he left his family. His wife died, meaning he left my dad and his 4 brothers and continued to do the ministering he had been doing. He left the family, the boys, with different people in his church. And I feel like that was not especially good. It wasn't good. And I think it had an impact on each of the boys. So that is one thing that
Who do you think, can you think of a person that you've had a major positive impact on?
Positive impact on someone? I think I've had positive impacts on my students. Because they come back later and tell me. Well, I can tell you one that's about to happen. A guy just called me and said he wanted to come and see me. He is now a principal in Yoncalla, Oregon, and he said that I was the teacher in his whole life that he reveres the most and likes the best. And so he wanted his own family to meet. So he's going to come down to see us in Grants Pass. So I know I impacted him.
In a positive way.
In a positive way.
What is something that has changed your outlook on life?
I think one of the most significant, other than knowing Jesus as my Savior, one of the most significant impacting things was when I had, my little brother was born, and he was totally handicapped. He was mentally and physically handicapped. So he required a lot of attention, and we had him before he deceased 4 years. And I think it taught me to appreciate, respect, and understand handicapped people. So that was an important lesson.
So overall, are you pleased with how your life turned out?
Yes, I am. I'm happy about my life. I don't have any big regrets. Maybe there's some little regrets, but I can't think of any right now. But I'm quite content with what happened.
Okay, very good.